Thanks, Phil. Yeah, thank you very much. It's a great privilege and honor to be able to present at your meetups, Phil. I think it's probably like the second or third time that I'm able to present. Um, so I'll be talking about Drupal AI, the roadmap in 2026, um, how AI is actually a driver of transformation for Drupal projects. Um, so the idea behind this session um, is initially started from a blog post that was shared in that I found in the Drupal.org news. I have the page open somewhere here in the tabs. I'll just switch to it quickly. So here it is. Um, that's the that's the news item, and if we go to the page itself, um, you can see that it dates back to the 11th of February, so it's still quite fresh. That's why I really wanted to do this presentation at the beginning of the year, because at the end of the year, then so many things will have already probably changed. Um, yeah, this was cross-posted from Dries' blog, and I just wanted to take a minute to zoom out from what is actually happening in the Drupal landscape in terms of AI. We'll be looking at so feel free to take a look at the news item, and more particularly, this presentation is based. I mean, we'll try to take a deeper dive into the different areas of focus for this initiative, which are actually detailed in the PDF, which is a manifesto um, produced by the Drupal AI Initiative Board. And so I just wanted to, this is how this idea sprang initially, and I thought it might be a good idea to just take half an hour, 40 minutes to try to um, look at this even in a very superficial way. Um, so back to the slide. So, I mean, AI has really been everywhere these days. Um, we've seen AI pop up, AI news everywhere in the news on Drupal.org, or they have even created like new buttons like to put special emphasis on this category on the drop times, for example, right here, Drupal AI. And I mean, pretty much everywhere you go, you'll see a special button about AI. So there is definitely a very big hype behind this. The objectives of this talk is to try to understand better what is behind this initiative, where it comes from, who are the major actors behind it, uh, and to try to gain a little bit of clarity of on the different modules and initiatives that are behind it and driving it. And of course, if you like, try to participate and get involved as usual. I think you probably all know me. I've been involved in Drupal for quite some time, and been maintaining quite a few modules. Um, uh, and more recently, I've been going around in different communities and trying to I'd say probably in open source, and trying to see what we could do to bring more people and promote Drupal. Um, so let's get started with all this, if you like. Um, AI right now is impacting every sector, and nobody actually really knows where it's going to end. And it's been massively, I think we probably all feel this way. It's been massively accelerating, I'd say, in the past 2, 3 years, something like that. So since 2023. And as a consequence, we're seeing CMSs, frameworks, evolving into intelligent platforms. And Drupal has embraced this major technological shift and is now a full part of this dynamic. I won't be answering in details into why Drupal is particularly suited for AI, but I think you'll all agree that one of the strengths of Drupal is that all the data in Drupal is strongly typed, and the more metadata and the more information or context you give to the AI engine, and the better quality of the results that you may get. Um, so why now? Um, Mostly because, like, I think, yeah, there was all this news and this hype and all these uh, all these new modules that are starting to pop out. But not only, there's also explosion of AI models. So the versions are going so quickly, and the different engines. And I don't know. I think I saw a presentation where someone was talking about like thousands and thousands of different AI models with different types of derivations with for specific uses and such. Plus, we're seeing a rise of tools, a lot of tools. So, in particular, like the agent-based IDEs. So, for example, in VS Code, you would be integrating with Copilot, which would allow you to prompt and very easily into your code base and tap into different models. You'd be able to use Claude, Gemini, ChatGPT, which of course gave birth to different new ways to approach projects. For example, spec-driven and human-in-the-loop concepts, and so on and so on. We also have autonomous agents, which a lot of people talk about, which may be able to industrialize and automate a lot of tasks, managing web applications and sites. And of course, MCP servers, which were introduced by Anthropic but quickly adopted as a standard by all AI providers, and which basically pretty much are a way to for applications to interact with different AIs systems. So we'll just talk about this in a moment, but we'll say in we'll approach it in a very superficial way. I have to say that this presentation was is quite ambitious. That means that it's although it's very superficial, it approaches a lot of different concepts and ways we can talk about this Drupal initiative. And of course, we're all feeling market pressures. So I mean, it keeps on growing right now, and it's really sort of worrying on us because we need to produce more, faster, better, and we're competing with other firms and other companies, and we have to so we have to withstand this pressure and try to see how we may be able to still protect our margins in terms of business, and how we may be able to make our contractual agreements evolve and such. So, so all these different parameters in this particular context made sense, and they bring a lot of challenges that Trees understood very well and anticipated very early. Um, Looking at the competition once again with other CMS systems, so we've got like the usuals like Contentful, Wix, WordPress, and so on and so on. And of course, if you're looking at more corporate ones, you'd be looking at Sitecore and AEM, and I don't know, there's lots of other systems out there. And the idea behind it is that they are all starting to integrate AI technologies and for various needs. And so, how do we keep Drupal very competitive in this landscape? Is a very big challenge, and from that we can derive it into other needs in the industry, such as improving team productivity. So again, we're looping back into pressure. How? are we able to ease the work from webmasters? So we'd have both sides, one side which is developers and the other side which is the client and perhaps webmasters. So being able to automate editorial tasks, technical tasks, and of course, down the road, why not think about improving personalized experiences? So we could be looking, for example, at a government website. If we were able to identify people, we would have different types of persona. So we could have, for example, elder people, so retired or senior citizens. We could have students. We could have family parents, and so on. So we'd have different types of profiles, and we'd be able to show them different pieces of information, which would be more better targeting uh, the specific audience. Um, so what's the? I'd like to. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the most interesting part of this presentation. It's the context and of the AI initiative. So quick recap: where do we come from, pretty much, and where and how it all began. So the Drupal AI module was created on March 7, 2023. So I think I've got it open here somewhere in one of the tabs. And we can take a quick look at it if you'd like. Yeah, that's the AI initiative. This is the AI module. So that's the one, and we can see here all the way at the bottom right here. We've got so it was created on March 7, 2023. But I mean, it really only started taking off very recently. If we look at it, you can see that it only went over 4,000 downloads like in May 2025. So it's like just a year ago, something like that. So all these like big drive, all this initiative behind it um, only started really only recently, and you can see that right now we're around how many about 12,000 something like that overall. So it's very recent, and we're all learning and discovering things. Um, so the first community AI modules were contributed, and the experimentation began in 2023. So that's pretty much, yeah, the part that you can see here, where everyone was actually experimenting, testing, doing stuffs on their own, on their side, before the AI initiative was actually federated and organized. And and so we gradually started structuring the ecosystem as it always does, when in the Drupal world, and consolidating somehow. So I'm staying in this mode because I'd like to switch between tabs afterwards. Um, so how did the community organize itself? The AI initiative was created, so we can take a look here. This is another tab that we have. It's the so this is the AI, and the AI initiative is right here. The Drupal AI initiative. So you can see it's it's also quite recent, on June 4, 2025. So this is where all the community actually started structuring itself, and the different pieces that were being built on each one's side. Well, they now everyone started discussing with each other, and structuring around a common goal. Um, so the objective down the road, I suppose, I mean, it hasn't been made clear and official, but down the road would be to integrate AI into the core of the CMS. So it's already a pillar, a very big part of Drupal CMS, with other components like automatic updates, project browser, and so on and so on. So it really makes for a very, very rich and CMS with AI first ready distribution. So the long-term vision is really going all the way down. I'd say. I mean, here I wrote 2026, but I'd say more around 20, probably before 2030. But we don't know because it goes so fast. So the AI initiative is also an acceleration program to support development, coordinate contributions, define standards. Like you saw right here, this is a very big, very clear proof of how the initiative is being structured, divided into several areas, principles. In these different areas, we're going to have standards, which are going to be discussed with the board and so on. And the goal behind it is also, of course, to get faster delivery of features. So you'd have clearer identification of the roles of each person and each company in the initiative, and faster back and forth, which will allow a much faster delivery model. Um, okay, so now we're approaching, I think, more concrete uh, topics, a more very concrete topic, which is around um, how is the whole initiative being funded, and who are actually the stakeholders behind? Who are these companies that are actually interested in this initiative and building these tools? So you've got um, major Drupal agencies. So I've got the tab open right here as well. We can take a look. So this is not it. That's the one, I think. Yeah, we've got an image. No, that's not the one. It's probably this one. Yeah, 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 yeah. Here we go. So I don't know if you've been to any DrupalCon, but these are pretty much all the companies that you see in the marketplace area, among which probably some of the biggest like Acquia, 1x Internet, Drop Solid, and so on. And you've got probably some companies that you know from the UK, such as Zucha and some other accelerators from India, and so on and so on. Um, so pretty big, and I mean there are quite a lot of companies actually that are involved in this program. Um, another page also I wanted to share with you is this one. It's the makers. So we've got the partners right here. This is AI and Become a Maker, and I think there's another. This is the AI initiative. This is partners. Okay, so it has changed the URL. But you can see here, right here, Jamie, and yeah, they have more details on each on all. Oh, and they do have like different partnership sort of like sponsoring levels. So they do have a very now a very clear way to involve the different companies and get sponsorship and pretty much raise funds overall. We can sum this up to that. Um, so yeah, we've been through the makers, the become the makers, the list of partners. So let's look maybe at the money behind all this. So I'll switch back to slideshow. We've got what types of investments have been poured into this. I mean, we've been all in the Drupal community for quite some time, and we've seen waves where you have lots of companies pouring large amounts of money into different types of modules and trying to build something and sell it to their clients and so on. Among which I'd say probably one of the least successful is Drupal Canvas, and and it's still very much struggling, and it has lost its place as priority number one in terms of investment and in terms of initiative. Um, of course, community funding. So I don't know if you recall, but uh, back in DrupalCon Barcelona, so that's like 2 3 years ago, there was I was speaking with Jamie, and he mentioned he tried to do some crowdfunding, and he was trying to raise 30,000 pounds to be able to write Figma to Drupal module, and so this is just to demonstrate another way that people are trying to raise funds for push this initiative. Corporate sponsorship. So yeah, again, we're back here to the sponsors, and you've got. I think there's a PDF somewhere where you can see the details. There's a form as well, right? Found out more about how you can become a sponsor, and you've got a whole program. And I can tell you a bit more about this. All right, right here we go, Dominique. That's the one. He's been pushing this very hard. And so they do have another PDF which document which details the different levels of sponsorship and the different things your company would be entitled to and things like that. Um, and of course, dedicated human resources. So you'd be able to have a bunch of developers in the company, and they'd be working on uh, fixing tickets pretty much around the Drupal AI initiative. Um, so this is some data that I was able to find on Drupal.org. So in 2025, the initiative pretty much launched, as you saw, with the page the module, the project page created by Kristen Paul, and so in August, pretty much, let's say mid of last year, um, they managed raising 175,000 US dollars, which is pretty the initial makers phase. And early this year, this pot of investments managed reaching 1.5 million. So I don't know if you realize it, but it's just been multiplied by 10. When you combine cash plus contributions, where is this going to go? Human resources contributions. So we have FTEs, 15. We started with 15 FTEs, so full-time equivalents. On top of that, you've added about 23 FTEs, and which makes today about 50. I don't know if you really realize this, but on any of the projects, when we are 15 people at the daily meeting in the morning, I mean, it's huge. It's already super big. And so now we're talking about projects, I mean, multiple projects, probably with 50 working full time. That's probably what made me the most, that amazed me the most, I think, and most curious about finding out what was actually going on behind this initiative. So seeing all this money, so I wanted just to make a very small graph because we don't have a lot of data to go on these days because only a year and a half has passed. So there are not a lot of points to put on this graph, but you can see that there are clearly three phases, part of this acceleration program. So the seed phase, where probably big firms will just throw in a bit of money and or resources and try to find out and build prototypes and experiment a little bit to try to get a better vision of the capabilities and the investment potential. Then you have phase two, which is pretty much around mid 2025, where you had the real arrivals of makers. So I think Jamie was probably part of the very beginning, but Marcus arrived at this stage, or I'd say probably around mid 2025, um, which is a moderate but structured growth, which led all the way to the end of 2025 with Drupal AI Summit in Paris, part of another event. I forgot. I think it's the FOSS, or I forgot another big event, which was 5 days in Paris, and the Drupal AI Summit was one day, and I think it's probably one of the first AI summits that took place, and pursuing. Ending 2025 all the way up until now. So it's phase three with great acceleration, scaling up, multiplying the funds by 10, and industrializing the project into projects. So we're really, really going into a very different phase right now. where we're not talking about experimenting, but we're really talking about operational changes in the way we actually produce our applications and maintain everything. And it's really a very, very huge shift in the way that we're in the world that we have known as developers. So let's take a look at this roadmap. Uh, we'll take a look very superficially because time flies, so we only have like about 20 minutes left. So, what's the overall vision? So, the overall vision is to for Drupal to become a platform that is assisted, automated, and learns. So, in terms of the main areas, where do we want to go? So we are looking at automated content creation and creation in general. We're looking at orchestration. Orchestrating, that means like plugging your Drupal site with, like I mentioned, for example, the MCP server, with other applications, with anything that you like, GitHub, Jira, anything. I mean, could be literally really anything that you would like to plug it with. Into the governance, of course, trying to be able to have more consistency and tighter and stronger governance over a very large scale amount of applications, better brand consistency and things like that. Continuous performance improvement, which can act at every level: SEO, accessibility, um, security, pure website performance, and so on and so on. So among the different areas of focus for the initiative, there's the page generation. So I'll go very quickly through all these because yeah, we don't really have much time. So the idea behind it is really you'd be giving describing a need, and then the AI will be generating the full page for you. So there are a lot of ways this can be approached. It depends whether you would like you're going to have different types of components, whether you what type of content you're going to have, and so on and so on. But the big idea where we're trying to go is this one. Um, if you have, of course, I'll be talking a bit more about design systems afterward. But yeah, if you have a design system, which is really very much Drupal is the way Drupal is going, and you'd be able to have intelligent component recognition, a very clear understanding of your design patterns. Again, we're looping on to governance, branding, context, and of course, iterative refinement, which means that the engine and the system is learning, which would be a time save, a huge time saver, cutting down tremendously TTM, time to market, potentially, of course, as well, cutting down potentially also a lot of resources, human resources. There are currently various approaches: MCP, AI agents, IDE, agentic agent IDEs, and so on. The impact, yeah, as I mentioned, reducing TTM, less reliance on developers. So that's I'm not sure this is really good for us, but and standardized pages. So the ability to have for example, there were at Drupal Camp there were presentations on very large multi-site um, organizations, and you'd be able to really have a very strong governance across all your different sites for all the different countries with different types of rules and so on and so on. Context management. So DrupalCon Chicago just wrapped up this one. I wanted to talk about this one quickly. So everybody's saying that this is really the next big thing, where a lot of things is going to happen. So the ability to manage your different contexts on your website, this is super new, as you can see. It was just wrapped up in a beta. Um, Again, I haven't tested this myself. I haven't had the time to test it, and you can see that it's integrated in 2.0 straight away. Um, and uh, uh, and it's super new, as you can see. It's not even 1 year old, so all of this is moving super fast, and so context management is one of the examples. So what is it? I'm not going to go into too much detail, but you can take a look, of course, after the module and test it for yourselves. The idea is to be able to define centralized rules. So the problem with AI is a lot of hallucinations, and as you know, as I mentioned at the beginning, is the more context you give to the AI, the more metadata you give it, the more information you give it about what you want it to do, and the better results you're going to obtain. So branding, the audience that you're trying to target, the editorial tone, and so on and so on. So if you're able to define all this, then when your webmasters will be assisted with AI to produce content items on the site, then it's going to be really on point and use exactly the editorial tone that you're looking for, target the exact audience, stick and with consistent branding guidelines, and so on. So yeah, as I mentioned, the idea is to try to get better quality, so less errors, um, stronger. I think overall consistency is really very important. So you get less spikes in terms of how the engine behaves and the types of answers it gives. Marketing alignment, so always staying along while walking along the lines of the guidelines that have been defined for your brand. So and all of that is really a very strong driver right now of the initiative. Background agents. So these ones are pretty much stabilized right now. A lot of them have been integrated in Drupal CMS 1.0 already, and were part of the demos Dries gave at previous Drupal cons. So among which you have automated SEO optimization, accessibility optimization. You have workflow processing. I'd say, this is probably the one of the most stable areas in Drupal right now. Um, it's probably one of with which the community really started initially. Um, and so the principle is that it operates the AI operates without intervention. You're going to give it a set of rules, different types of actions, and it's going to be able to operate autonomously without any human intervention, based on with different types of triggers and scheduling and things like that. Um, so the idea behind is to try to keep fix some data integrity issues, fill in some holes that might be left by human interactions. So, for example, webmasters filling content, creating content, but forgetting about accessibility, about SEO, about performance, security, and things like that. Design system. So as I mentioned, it's really a big driver of Drupal right now, and a lot of people are working on making Drupal AI system ready, design system ready. In other words, that you should be able to plug into Drupal any type of design system. So you'd be able to plug in Bootstrap, the US WDS, the UK design system, French design system, whatever design system you like, and you'd be just be like sort of matching like the different types of objects. So I think you've all probably heard before of Pierre Duro and other French guys who are really involved in working into that. So the idea, and if you push that one step further, is to have AI connected components and creation of new components. So it results in a very limited need for manual HTML, CSS integration. The more things you have defined in your graphic charter, in your design system guidelines, and so on, then the better the AI system is going to produce. better results it's going to produce. Among which, of course, you'd be able to, I mean, be able to straight away produce from Figma to SDC components. So behind this, you are able to keep a very strong UI consistency and accelerate greatly design plus development by shortcutting pretty much the HTML CSS integration. So the whole step where you're converting from a design um, uh, uh, element, so from Figma, for example, which is very designers oriented tool, to straight away integrate it into the Drupal theme as an SDC component, for example. Um, Content creation and discovery. So we're looping back on to um, assisted technology, assisted writing, smart search, automating suggestions. So there is a lot of work around these different areas. I spoke with some people at Drupal Camp Grenoble, and we talked about the difference between keyword search and semantic search, and um, and there's a lot of work being done right now to be able to integrate like facets and faceted search and semantic search as well. So there are also very a lot of the different fields to explore in this particular area. You'd have, of course, with SEO, with assisted content, you'd be able to have improved SEO. They're talking about now GEO, which is generative engine optimization. You'd be able to save time, editorial time, improve the user experience again because you'd be able to specify if you give context, like for example the level, the education level of the target audience, the editorial tone, and so on and so on. Then you'd be able to have a very much more consistent experience for these users, since the AI engine would be much more constrained as a human being. Governance. This is really key these days because there is a big distrust, lack of trust, I say, around AI models and engine, and so we're always very reluctant to plug the engines with production sites and how do we actually integrate it into the delivery process. And so we'd be able to have batch validation, versioning, and we could be using AI for audits. So this is already being done. It's getting super popular right now. I have some colleagues working in security, and cybersecurity, and they've started using AI everywhere for pen tests, log reviews, configuration audits. So when I say configuration audits, is really the audit of your the configuration of your Drupal site, for example, to see if you haven't left any holes and permissions and things like that. Accessibility, of course, with recommendations, support, performance. I mean, it's incredible. I saw there's a. I haven't tested it yet, but there's a MCP server for PostgreSQL, and you'd be and the AI with the MCP server. So, for example, you'd be integrating your VS Code with Copilot, uh, or Cloud Code or Gemini Studio, whatever you like, plugged with the MCP server onto your PostgreSQL database and asking it to optimize whatever you like, indexes on tables, views on tables, certain slow queries, and so on and so on and so on. With huge amount of tables, like you could be having hundreds and thousands of tables. I have some sites where I have more than 700 or 800 tables. So, and of course, SEO and so on. Stakes. So some of the big stakes around this is really the trust that you can put in AI, the traceability and the compliance. So where do the users' data go? How do we get rid of it, and so on. Um, Intelligent website improvement. So we're going back to learning here. and we're almost at the end of the different areas. I think there's only one more, and we're done. Then we're going to the conclusion. Intelligent improvements. So again, having an AI system looking at your site over a period of time, with logs, with context, being able to adjust itself over time and give you different choices. Based on the choices that you will make, the system will reflect its future choices and learn from it. And it's not going to ask you the same things several times. It's going to change the way it actually sends and gives you suggestions and reorganize itself. This is, I think, part of the one of the very big reason why they build the control center. The automated recommendations, the continuous learning again. So really plugging your logs, whatever logs you have, any types of logs with your site, the traffic as well. You could plug, I don't know, your Matomo instance, your Google Analytic instance, and so on. And the AI system is going to tell you how you would be able to maximize the traffic on certain pages, organize your keywords, and so on and so on. Um, in the end, we're going to end up with auto-optimized websites, which is going to improve greatly the ROI with continuous improvement. And we're still talking about human in the loop. So, so we're still talking about humans making the final choices and decisions here. I think this is the last of the points in the PDF document. Multi-channel. So I've asked myself why, because there is already a lot of ways that you can do multi-channel. I mean, you can use an automated marketing platform. There's lots of them. Salesforce and what's the name again? The other one in PHP, open source. Um, there's a lot of different systems that you can use to do that already. I think probably this was pushed by some of the sponsors in the initiative who really wanted to be able to have the AI system take over the control and management of all the different channels, uh, always for the same thing, cross-channel consistency, being able to spread out the same message in a very controlled manner. When you have a very large corporation and you want a marketing message to go out everywhere at the same time and in the same way, and so on and so on. So you have these types of problematics, I suppose. And of course, marketing productivity. Um, so that we're done with the different areas, and we're going to the final chapters, which is how to become an actor in this, and the conclusion where we're going. Getting involved as usual. This reminds me of the slide from Phil, which is Drupal needs you. I'm not sure Drupal AI really needs you there because so much money is being poured into this. But still, Kristen is asking for our help. For example, right here in the no, that's the I one. That's the in the context. Yeah, in the context control center. Saying beta testers welcome. Okay, we can go there, test it, and give our feedback. As usual, I mean, you all know that. I think the interesting part is probably this one, the Drupal AI initiative, um, and where they list all of the different events that are going to take place and the different marketing actions that they are all carrying. Like, for example, posting on, it's super active if you look at it. There's a lot of uh, all the different actors from the different sponsors that you've seen. They're all very active in here. And different events, the probably the marketing content that they are posting on different platforms, social media sprints, and so on and so on. So if you really want to get involved, this is where I would be looking if I wanted to catch them and try to tag along. and get some idea of where what I could do for them and with them. Um, Funding, of course, if you've got, mm, if your company is interested in putting money into this, you can always try to join their sponsorship programs and community programs. They have corporate partnerships and so on as usual. Uh, okay, so how do we prepare for the future? How do we prepare for this? Where will we be at the end of 2026? Where will we be in a year time? Um, so what can we do already now to be able to absorb, I'd say, stable AI modules? So as you know, structuring content is super important. So the more you have type data and the more your fields are divided and qualifying very um, I'd say in very precise way the type of data that you would like to represent, then the better results you're going to obtain with AI modules. So, for example, date fields, um, geo coordinates, um, the numbers, integers, pricing, commerce prices, and so on and so on. Implementing a design system, of course. I myself use a lot of design systems. I think I use design systems on almost no, not all, but I'd say 80% of the projects I'm working on right now. So a lot of these design systems are the French government's design system, but not only. There are some custom design systems for large organizations. So they have their own design system, which is completely independent from any Drupal themes logic, and you have it like, for example, in its own way. It can be documented and it can be used in various different types of with various types of technologies like Vue.js, Java applications, and so on and so on. In, and defining governance, seeing actually where you want to go with that and how um, AI could these AI modules could potentially be used on your projects. Some of the technical prerequisites. That means what can we do today? We can explore and see how we may be able to break some pieces of our projects into APIs to be able to better integrate them with external services, make, I'd say, smaller bricks speak to each other with like small applications. Yeah, that's goes along with the next point, modular architecture, breaking down into smaller, very smaller pieces, which could be autonomous, independent building blocks. And again, the quality of the data. Again, trying to correct any if you have large amounts of data, um, and um, and to be able to make it clean, better typed, and more and better interoperable with other systems. Conclusion. I just need 2 minutes more. Phil, sorry for running over a bit. Um, so where are the barriers to adoption right now? Um, Cost is one of them, although there are fairly cheap cost models for certain AI models, AI engines and services. Um, we'll see how this evolves in the future. Probably there'll be some more specific and cheaper models as well, because right now we're using some certain systems, like for example, GPT, for example, which could be really overkill in certain situations. So we are in sort of a time where we're starting to look at how we can optimize the different requests that we are making to the engines and control costs and so on. The complexity, um, again, I was talking about very large types of projects, multi-site style projects, projects with very complex levels of governance, like boards and committees, and it can be definitely a big barrier if you'd like to have the AI be implemented in search organizations. So, for example, on some government projects I've been working on, it took them 2 years or more even to be able to assess how they would be able to actually integrate it in a safe way into their operational chains. Um, trust, trust, of course, big issue. Especially these days, we're talking about sovereignty and we're talking about the United Statesifying, especially around here in Europe and so on. We have these types of topics. Governance, again, depending on the types of projects that you have, it can really become very complex, um, and so be really a barrier to adoption. However, it shows promises of great future benefits. For example, an tremendous increase in productivity. Productivity is one thing. It's being able to produce more with less time. But I'd say, like in very, very big organization, corporations, the ability to be able to cut down time to market is a huge, very significant, very, very important win because you're able to gain a lot of agility while being huge, they're very heavy and very big company to face very rapid economic changes. For example, when you have scandals on different social media and mitigating the costs on the brand or the image and things like that. So it's I'd say this is probably where it's probably one of the most impressive area where you can benefit from it. Personalized experiences. So maybe not in public services so much because it's quite hard to track people and to be able to get a lot of information on people in order to be able to personalize their experience. But if you look at e-commerce, for example, I have a good friend from the Drupal community in the UK who manages several sites for selling. He has bidding sites for selling spirits. So any types of spirits, champagnes, whiskeys, and so on and so on. And so on these types of sites, you would definitely you would have a very great amount of users that would be actually identified, and you would know what is their buying pattern, what they have bought, what types of pages they've been browsing, and so on and so on. And you'd be able to offer a very complete and very personalized experience. I mean, there's no limit to this. Eventually, you could even look at a completely different looking site and with blocks, have with tons of different links, colors, and so on. And so it's another very interesting field. Um, Future visions. What are our projections? So a standalone CMS. I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. Where are we going with all this? Uh, like the CMS is going to be really autonomous. And so we'd be administering a cluster of applications. So we'd have smaller applications talking with each other that have been like, I don't know, programmed and built and configured and audited with AI systems and bubble up all the information to a human being which is able to administer all this. I don't know. I'm just trying to project myself. Human plus AI, which gives, of course, way to a human plus AI collaboration, where we're going to see it as more of an equal partner in our relationship. And new professions, we don't know of yet. This is still mystery for us right now. Friends, 2030, just to let you know where we are. Um, so this is the name of a plan that was defined by our current government, so under Mr. President Macron. The projections, great. So this has started around 2022, 2023, something like that. with a great acceleration in integration of AI systems into national services. We've been facing sovereignty issues, trying to position certain French companies and make, trying to push leaders, French companies leading in this system in this sector to emerge. But be sure of one thing: by 2030, all of the public services in France will have AI in them, all of them. Right now, there's the tax bureau, which is using AI for tax fraud detection. CNAM is the equivalent of the NHS. DITP is the organization for which I worked on integrating AI. I gave several presentations about this project, and that you may be able to find online. Ministry is the Ministry for Education and Higher Education and Research, and so on and so on and so on. And I've been talking about local gov Drupal previously and how we may be able to push it as well in France. So I think you in the UK are already there, and you can probably envision chatbots, background agents, and so on. Key message. So what is the takeaway here? So two things. AI is not an option for Drupal, and it is a structural transformation. Get involved. Drupal needs you. Try to start preparing for the future today. There's no way you you, you can escape this wave and this hype. Just now get trained. Get yourself prepared around all that, and try to learn how all of this is going to change the way you work and your sites. And if you can, tag along to contribute. So as usual, we will try to do our share and a little bit that we can. Thanks everyone. Questions, please.
Just going back to slide 55, I think. Just back a couple of slides,
Oh,
David.
sorry, yeah. I pressed the wrong button.
No worries. Well, you said
I'll
that
take it again.
AI is not an option for Drupal. Do you mean
Yeah.
it's not optional?
I mean,
As
no,
in,
of course, no. You can always turn it off.
yeah,
But yeah, but the way that it's going to present itself in the future is that it's going to be less and less of an option.
right.
Why? Because of the different factors of competition that you're going to face. Because competitors or competing platforms are going to offer solutions with AI, which may be able to accelerate your business, your productivity, automate things, and so on. Get reach a quality that you would actually be unable to reach by yourself. Just as simple as that. So when I'm saying this, it's just to walk along the lines of Tris with Drupal CMS, where you have AI, which is integrated out of the box, and they want to make it the first AI first CMS. So, but of course, yeah, you can always turn it off. Of course.
I think
You-
I think David, what he means is that that wording means it's not possible.
Ah,
Like
oh, sorry,
AI
yeah,
is not optional for Drupal is what you meant.
sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
thanks.
Yes. Right.
Sorry, yeah. Thanks. Yeah.
That's all right. That's all right. Um,
He knew what he meant.
the- Any other questions for David? No? Okay, so I'll turn the recording off.